Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all for being here. I next like to announce Swin Cash, who will be coming up and sharing a few words.
For me, starting out playing basketball afforded me the opportunity to not only go to college, but to also create a platform. And now having a platform, playing in the WNBA, having the opportunity to play in the Olympics, I can now go across the country and come to events like this and talk about the importance of giving back to our youth. They are our future. And everything that we do, not only from the dollar amount that you give, but the time that you give, is going to help change not only your community here in Seattle, but our community across the country. Years of my career in 2008, not making the Olympic team, I was here in Seattle with the storm, and it was very devastating to me. And over the course of 4 years, I went through a lot of life lessons, like you said, and they taught me that at the end of the day, it wasn't about the ultimate goal, it was about the life lessons I learned along the way. And that's helped me become the woman that I am today. It's helped me be committed to giving back to our youth. And I encourage all of you to continue what you're doing here and then branch it out like a tree to other parts of our country as well. So kudos to A+. Thank you guys so much. God bless and continue to fight.
There's nobody on the planet that I think cares more about students, academics, and athletics, and that combination more than Dr. Mark Emmert. Without further ado, Dr. Mark Emmert.
I spent 30 years as a faculty member, as an administrator, 30 years on campus as an educator. I'm in many ways a parent's nightmare. I went to college at 18 and literally never left. I moved from president of one of the great, most respected universities on earth to run the largest athletic association on earth. And my phone started ringing from very interesting people. First of all, the Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, who candidly didn't return my calls when I was president of the UW. But now all of a sudden, he's calling. Now my first thought is he wants tickets, right? But no, that's not it, and he's gone on to become a friend, and I respect him enormously. And then I started getting calls from around the world. The Minister of Education from Mexico, education leaders from Korea and China and Japan, old colleagues from Europe. And here's the amazing thing. They were calling me, including Secretary Duncan, because they wanted to talk about how do we do exactly what this program does. How do we take the power of sport to capture it and develop the kind of skills and abilities and discipline and passion that it can to drive forward an education agenda broadly defined. Education not as just learning from a textbook, but the education as a developmental element of life. They would say, look, we know how to educate kids as well as you do in science and math and engineering. Pick a subject. We can do that as well as you can. In fact, we may do it better than you do in a lot of ways. And we know from test scores that that's a fact. There are many countries that are beating us in a lot of other ways. But they would then say, but you know what? You're a lot better at developing leadership, at teamwork, at people that work together on projects that are more innovative, that are more creative, that have more drive and ambition and aspiration. And we, as educators in another country, we're not exactly sure where all of that comes from, but we think part of it is your fixation at an early age on sport. And whether you play t-ball or, is there anything more painful than watching t-ball in the rain? I mean, it's just like the world's worst experience, except everybody out there is learning something. If we do A, B, C, and D, and we learn this structure, and we learn this teamwork, then we'll have fun and we'll get ice cream afterwards, right? And we teach those lessons early on, and then we start to develop them on and on and on. It was one of the great thrills of my life to watch that young man and this young man and that young man play for the University of Washington. I got to watch Swin start out with UConn, and then I went to LSU and I got to watch her beat us, which was less fun, Swin, I got to tell you. But you know, to watch all of them grow and develop and bring their skill and ability and passion to sport and achieve at that very high level was a remarkable thing. But here's the flip side of the great American story of sport. We're not American unless we also take things to extremes, right? I mean, we get carried away with everything. If we're gonna play a game, we're gonna play it better than anybody in the world. If we're gonna write software, we're gonna write it better than anybody else in the world, Steve. I mean, it's, you know, we're gonna doggone it, we're Americans. We're gonna do it better than anybody, and we get a little myopic sometimes, and we get a little too focused. We just this last year put in place some new rules in the NCAA, for example, that fit so perfectly with what A+ is all about. I jumped at the chance to speak at this event. We raised the initial eligibility standards starting in 2017, so you're getting the kids ready just in 2016 is the first year, getting them ready just in time. So this year's entering high school class, freshman class. When they come out, they've got to have a 2.3 GPA in the core subjects, not across all their subjects, only in college prep coursework. They have to take their coursework throughout their high school, no senior year miracles anymore. You got to actually have a high school curriculum that makes sense. And if you don't have that, you're not playing that first year. You're not playing. Second thing we added was we said if your program, your team, is not on track to graduate at least half, which doesn't seem like too high a barrier, right? But at least half of your teammates, then you're not going to postseason play. You are not going to any NCAA tournaments. You're not going to any bowl games. The program that you all are supporting here is a remarkable example of doing precisely what we as Americans and as a society can do around sport. And thank you all for being here, and thank you for the great chicken. Appreciate it. Bye.